Welcome back to the Science of Peace, and today we will be talking about a few passages from this book. It's called Mind Over Medicine. Mind Over Medicine, scientific proof that you can heal yourself. This book is definitely in alignment with another book that I've read previously, and you know that I'm a Dr. Joe Dispenza groupie. Um, and it kind of goes into that same alignment of basically of how you can heal yourself, and what all that entails, and normally what it entails is raising your awareness, um, tuning into your inner self, um, raising your vibration, changing your perspective, all of these things. And there's a couple of passages that I did want to bring up and to talk about because it resonated with me, and I feel like it will resonate with some of you all. And one of them is that this is the passage here from the Indian philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti, and they said, "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." I'm gonna say that again. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. So why are we pathologizing people who are depressed, anxious, and sick in the presence of a sick culture? When sensitive people feel sad, angry, frustrated, helpless, hopeless, and in pain, why are we diagnosing them with mental or physical disorders rather than acknowledging that their empathic response to the state of affairs in the world is in fact a normal, healthy reaction to the kind of dehumanizing behavior many others have simply become numb to? And I just think that that is profound, because sometimes I think that we get swept away. We get so programmed, so robotic in what's going on because we hear it so much. We're like listening to the news, the radio, social media, and you can get inundated with a bunch of just negative, fear-based programming. And that can cause you to feel anxious, sad, depressed, and raises your awareness to that type of energy, to that type of flow. So it's normal that you feel what you feel, and it's not normal for society to make you feel like, because you have feelings, because you are sad, because you are depressed, because you are anxious, because of these things, that you're the one that's wrong. Like, that doesn't make any sense. That is totally backwards. You know what I mean? So like, and there's another key point that they say here. It says, wouldn't we be better off devoting ourselves to healing our culture rather than medicating what's normal and stigmatizing, drugging, or hospitalizing those who have tender hearts and energetic sensitivity? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, many of us have tender hearts. We're not numb to the bull crap that's going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're not numb to all of the violence that's happened. Like, a lot of that's a lot to deal with. You know what I'm saying? That's why I limit, if I ever watch the news, it's very limited because I understand the programming. Or even when I like happen to be in the car and the radio comes on, I don't normally listen to the radio because I notice a difference in my body from when I leave the car, or when I'm just in the car and the radio is on too long. Like, that static, and I'm talking about the static of the frequency, I feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference from when I'm listening to the music that I want to listen to. And normally I'm listening to, like, books on audio, or I'm listening to, YouTube lecture or something like that. But I notice a big difference from when I'm not listening to those things and I'm listening to the radio. It's so many like commercials that keep coming on over and over again, talking about some type of disease that you might have, or murder that happened, or of course the vaccination commercials is like ridiculous. So like all of these things, when you're empathic or sensitive to energy or whatever we want to call it, like if you feel some kind of way from being inundated with that, meaning if you're feeling sad, depressed, anxious, any of those things because of it, or maybe you're not even aware that that's where it's coming from, like that is normal, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? And then that's why we have to start to just to be more in tune with ourselves. And that's why I always call this the science of peace, because it's the information that we're lacking. And that information, if you had the information, you may change the way that you see things, or you may change, you might start to change your habits of what you're listening to, what you're reading, what are you eating, you know what I'm saying? What are you thinking? You know what I mean? Because all of these things can, create a stressful environment for your body, which can break down your immune system, which could eventually lead to creating disease. Because we know that disease, you take apart the word, it's dis-ease. That means your body is not at ease. You know what I'm saying? And not sometimes, what I have learned like when you look back in retrospect of some of the things that have happened in your own life, when you go back and look, and sometimes it seems like things that could be falling apart, or, even when you look into life, here, the culture of the United States, it seems like things are falling apart. And without the awareness of knowing that when things fall apart, when things break down, there's usually something beautiful that comes from it. You know what I mean? Even with the whole last year when the first COVID strand hit, like it was major chaos in the beginning, and still for a lot of us. But there were a lot of us that flourished during this time because we had the time. We had the time to be with ourselves, to be with our family. We had the time to sit and think and create, because we are natural creators. Like, you are a natural creator. And this is from my perspective, my current level of understanding. But it is my current level of understanding that everyone who came here to planet Earth came here to create. We contracted to come here to create because we are natural creators. You know what I'm saying? The God, the divinity is within us. You're supposed to be creating. And when you create, you elevate. When you create, you raise awareness. When you create, you inspire. You know what I'm saying? And when you cannot create, it's depressing. So like, you're supposed to be here, and you're supposed to be tapping into yourself and understanding like the knowledge of self. And with that knowledge of self, it's ongoing. There is no level of completion with knowledge of self. It does not stop. So no one gets to some master level and is now you're done. Because think about it, life is eternal. You're never done. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, sometimes when you get some information and you start to change or raise your awareness, things can fall apart. And we know that, cosmically, we are now in the age of Aquarius, which is a different and a higher frequency than the age of Pisces that we were in. The age of Pisces is the age of believing, but the age of Aquarius is the age of knowing. So know that a lot of this information that's coming into us, that's waking us up, is challenging the beliefs that we once had. And when we get challenged with beliefs, and when our beliefs are challenged, most times things fall apart. But that's only because they have to. So there's another quote that's in this book that kind of taps in on that I love. And it says, "The birth of every new moment is the death of the last. So the birth of every new moment is the death of the last. And pay attention to that because it brings hope, at least for me. It resonates with me in that way, and I understand it because I've experienced it. And so, and it's kind of like that whole thing where when one door closes, another opens. So it's like when these things happen that may seem devastating to us, understand and know that something great is going to come from it. And in relation to your own life, the quickest way to get to that greatness that's going to come from that is to expand your own awareness. Is to raise your own vibration. And when you raise your own vibration, you're raising your own consciousness. And you start to see things differently. You know what I'm saying? Because your perception is your reality. And so a lot of times the work that needs to be done is within. Like Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. And that's the real work. Because as long as we continue to blame other people, blame society, whoever, for things that are happening, then we don't ever have to take ownership. We don't ever have to do anything. We just sit back and complain and say, hey, you know, these people ain't doing this right, blah, 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 blah. But really, it's all a reflection. So what are you doing? And how can you change your perception or change the way you think to increase your awareness, you know, to raise your vibration, to raise your consciousness? And when you do these things, these are the things that help to heal you, that help to alleviate pain, you know, sadness, depression, you know what I'm saying? Because you ultimately have to change the way you think about things, because there's two sides to the coin, and that's how powerful you are. And so there's another section here that I want to talk about that I just love. And it says, you are the caterpillar entering the chrysalis, unlikely to come out of the cocoon unchanged. I'm going to say that again because I fumbled. You are the caterpillar entering the chrysalis, unlikely to come out of the cocoon unchanged. You may feel like you're dissolving in the process, the way the caterpillar becomes bug soup first, rather than just sprouting wings as a butterfly. So you may feel like you're dissolving in the process, the way the caterpillar becomes bug soup first, rather than just sprouting wings as a butterfly. And I love that because I never really thought about that whole process. Like, I thought about it, but not in that way, where you actually, you know, envision that caterpillar that crawls into the cocoon, right? When they're cocooning, you know, and they literally kind of dissolve in a way, like he says, she says, like bug soup, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when things are here to transform our lives, transform who we are going to be, you know what I'm saying, from the caterpillar to the butterfly, you have to go through that gestation period. You have to go through that process, which takes time. And it may feel like everything is falling apart. You know what I'm saying? Imagine what that caterpillar feels like when it's like not a caterpillar anymore and it's dissolving. It's like bug soup. But it's like, I like what popped in my mind is like, we're all like, in certain parts of our life, cosmic bug soup. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we're divine. You know what I mean? So sometimes when things go awry, and you don't really know which way to go, and one thing has ended, you know what I'm saying, and this new thing is going to begin, but you're in that space in the middle. Nothing hasn't started yet, but you're in this gestation period. You're in this bug soup period, and you might feel like this is the end of the world, but I'm telling you, it's not. It's really not. And sometimes, no, not sometimes, all the time, when you're going through that process, you know, something great will come from that. And what comes from that, when it's greatness, it's going to be great because you will create it to be great. If you're not afraid, if you're not fearful of that process, know that that process is going to make you greater. It's going to raise your awareness. It's going to raise your consciousness. It's going to inspire others, and it's going to inspire you. So if you're going through something and you feel like you're not quite sure what it is you're supposed to be doing or what the next step is, I promise you that you're in the bug soup stage. You know what I'm saying? And you know, value that. It's a precious moment. And it will happen over and over again because you're constantly going to go from caterpillar to butterfly. You're going to go from caterpillar, let's not forget, to bug soup to butterfly. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just remember, be kind to yourself. Show yourself love. Don't be so hard on yourself, because I know how it is to just, you know, be your worst critic. But really, treat yourself with kindness. Love yourself. Know that if you're going through that process, that you are cosmic bug soup, and something great is going to come from it. Guaranteed. You just have to change your perspective about it. Change your perception, because like I said, your perception is your reality, and you are divine. And the moment you start to know it and feel it and ingest it and be it, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? So peace and blessings to you all. This is Science of Peace. Make sure you join me. Don't follow me. Join me on YouTube. Subscribe. You know, tell me what you think. If you're in your own bug soup right now, talk about it, man. Inspire others, because those stories are what inspires us. I know it inspires me when I learn about someone's bug soup. So peace, and I'm out.